Hey, shalom, shalom. Before I begin, I want to give praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, a great millstone. Peace and salutations unto the elect, the nation of Israel. It's the brother 12 part y'all from the Providence, Rhode Island camp. Coming at you with a brief lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, this is edifying. I just put together some verses here and lessons entitled "The Enemies Will Be Disappointed." Again, the enemies will be disappointed, and you can see I put Psalms 20 verses 6 through 9, but Spirit wants me to go to Psalms 83 because of the way I put the title. It's because I was written in Psalms 83rd chapter. It's a list of our enemies. So it says here, Psalms 83 and 1, keep not thou silence, O Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father. Ba'ashem means in the name. Yahweh Shai is the name of the only begotten Son of the Heavenly Father. And what I said was in the Hebrew, the Paleo Hebrew. All right. So it says, keep not thou silence, O Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. That's who we call upon. Of the hopeful elect, that's who we call upon. That's who we believe. That's what we believe the true names are. Okay, pursuant to Psalms 30 and 4. What is his name? What is his son's name? If thou can tell. Pursuant to what's written in the New Testament, that there's no other names under heaven what you can call upon that you know to be saved. Those are the names we believe. Pursuant to Proverbs, when it's written, the name of the Lord is a strong tower, and the righteous runneth into it and safe. Pursuant to Sirach, where it says the elect shall praise his holy name. All right. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is the names of the Heavenly Father and his only begotten Son. But verse 1, continue. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head, and they have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. And they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. Tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Asher also is joined with them, and they have hope in the children of Salah. So these words, Edom, Ishmael, Moab, so on and so forth, are the heathen nations outside of the Negro, Latino, Native Americans. And I'm saying it like that so whoever listens can understand. However, this list, this is a list written in Psalms 83. All right, this list has grown. There are 18 nations written within the Bible. You go to Genesis, the 10th chapter. 17 of those nations are the enemy of the children of Israel. Again, who are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And what these people have done, they've came together, they came to an agreement to keep us in a very low estate, keeping us from being uplifted, walking with righteousness. And all they've done was invest, as it says, to keep us from being a nation. Now, this is only for the fulfillment of Jeremiah 17. Let me see if I can pull that real quick. It's only for the fulfillment of Jeremiah 17 and 4. Let me grab it real quick. It says here, Jeremiah 17 and verse 4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. Right? So the only reason why these people, these heathens, have done what they did was so that Jeremiah 17:4 can be fulfilled, as well as Deuteronomy chapter 28. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28. And this is just to give some understanding, right? Deuteronomy 28 is pretty much the breakdown of what would happen to us if we were to follow the law, statutes, and commandments of our God, right? As it says here, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy power will set thee on high above all nations. You know, so this from verse 2 all the way down to 14 is what would take place if we listened. Now, verse 15 says, But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So from verse 16 all the way, all the way to verse 68, all right, those are the things we are suffering right now, okay? Those are the things that we are suffering right now. But in particular, I want to read here Deuteronomy 28, in verse 63. And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught. And ye shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it, right? We're going to be taken from our land, this is the land of Israel. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth, even unto the other. And be there thou shalt, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and a failing of eyes, and a sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life. And in the morning thou shalt say, Would God it were even, and at even thou shalt say, Would God it were morning, for the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. Right? So we were going to be, as it's written, according to the curses, we was just going to be taken and destroyed, man. So the Most High, what he did was he used our enemies to punish us, okay? And we can see a clear example of that written here in Isaiah the 10th chapter. And I'm speaking specifically the way it's worded. It says here in Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 5, it says, O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger and the staff in their hand is mine indignation. So this is going into the time where the northern kingdom was getting punished, by the Most High. But the Most High, Yahweh, was using the Assyrians. As it says, the staff in their hand was the Most High's indignation. It says, I will send him against an hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath will I give him a charge to take the spoil and to take the prey and to tread them down like the mire of the street. All right, so the Most High uses these heathens, or these 17 nations, to actually punish us, but however, as I said in the title, the enemies will be disappointed because they're going to get ahead of themselves. They're going to think that this is all being done because of their own carnal means. But it's going to go ahead, and we're going to go ahead and say it. We're going to go ahead and read this. Let's see right here. Let's go ahead and read verse 13. It says, For he said, by the strength of my hand I have done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent, and I have removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasures, and have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. And my hand has found, right? So this is going into the mindset of these heathens, specifically dealing with our number one enemy, the Edomites, which are the so-called white people. This is their mindset, right? For he saith, by the strength of my hand I have done it, by my wisdom, for I am prudent, I have removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasures, and I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. And my hand has found as a nest the riches of the people, and as one gathereth eggs that are left, have I gathered all the earth. And there was none that moved the wing, or opened the mouth, or peeped. Shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth therewith? Or shall the saw magnify itself against him that shaketh it? As if the rod should shake itself against them that lift it up? Or as if the staff should lift up itself as if were no wood? Therefore shall the Lord of hosts, send among his fat ones leanness, and under his glory he shall kindle a burning like the burning of fire. And the light of Israel shall be for a fire, and his Holy One for a flame, and it shall burn and devour his thorns and his briars in one day. And shall consume the glory of his forest and of his fruitful field, both soul and body, and they shall be as when a standard bearer fainteth. So basically what I'm reading is that these heathen, they're going to be put to shame. They're going to be humbled down. Okay? Let me see. Let me do this. Let's go to the book of Amos, because it's going to go into the list, more of the list of our enemies. I'm not going to necessarily read the whole thing. What I want to do is I just want to kind of like highlight the different nations that are written here. Amos, the first chapter. All right. So verse 11 starts off with Edom. Okay. Jumping 13. Ammon. All right. Is it Amos 1 or is it Amos 3? Hold up. I thought Amos 1. Yeah, so Salakia. So starting from verse 1. Okay, here we go. Starts here for the three train. Yep. Starting from Damascus. Right, going into Damascus. Into Gaza. Right, then it was Ashdod, Tyrus. Also going into Edom over here, right? Then we also got Ammon in the mix, right? So these heathen, they're going to get it, man. You know, and this is something that's been prophesied, all right, from the very beginning. This is the testimony of Yahweh Shai. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and jump back. Let's go ahead and start off. See, look, all the scriptures brought out, but I wanted to start here, Psalms 20. And that's the spirit, man. That's how it works. So let's kick off Psalms 20 and verse 6. It says, now know, let me do it like this. It says, now know I that the Lord saveth his anointed. He will, I get on a phone call, hold on. It says, now know I the Lord will save, I know now know I that the Lord saveth his anointed. He will hear him from his holy heaven with the saving strength of his right hand. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our power. See, us of the hopeful elect, we understand that our warfare is not carnal. We know that we are not going to be able to overcome our enemies by guns and rifles and, you know, martial combat training. All said and done, this is a period where our enemies are rolling over us to punish us. But we have a faith, we have a belief, a hope that our power, Yahweh Shem Shai, is going to tear them down. You know, we don't trust in this system. We trust in Yahweh Shem Shai. It says they are brought down and fallen, but we are risen and stand upright. You know, see, this is prophesied. meaning it's said before it actually happened. The children of Israel right now are in a low estate, okay? And the heathen are high, but they will be brought down and fallen, and we will be risen and stand upright, following the laws, statutes, and commandments, living in the kingdom of righteousness. No one's going to be able to go off in the children and the nation of Israel, you know? But it says, to jump to Psalms chapter 21 in verse 8, it says, thine hand shall find out all thine enemies. Thy right hand shall find out those that hate thee. Right? We read about who hates the Lord, right? Thou shalt make them as a fiery oven in the time of thine anger, and the Lord shall swallow them up in his wrath, and the fire shall devour them. Which pursues to what? The thermonuclear destruction that's going to take place here in America. Okay? All right, Malachi, the 4th chapter, first verse. Let's go ahead and grab that. Let's put this right here. Let's go to Malachi. It just mentioned the fiery oven, right? So let's read Malachi. This is Malachi chapter 4, verse 1. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, all that do wickedly shall be stubble. Hold on, let me focus this. Yep. See, let me do this like this. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. All right, and that even includes the wicked of the children of Israel. You know, they're also considered enemies of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. So let's go ahead and keep on going, right? Verse 10, it says, their fruit shall thou destroy from the earth, and their seed from among the children of men. Yeah, eventually, pursuing Obadiah chapter 1, verse 18, the children of Esau will be taken off from the face of the earth. Let's go there. Let's go there real quick. This is Obadiah chapter 1 in verse 18. It says, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord has spoken it. So that's going to ultimately be fulfilled after the 1,000-year period, right? Which during the 1,000-year period, the kingdom of heaven is going to be built up by the heathen through continuing employment. All right. But let's keep going. It says, for they intended evil against thee. They imagined a mischievous device which they are not able to perform. Right? Which brings me to, let's go to Psalms. Let me put this right here. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 2, verse 1. Because it talks a little bit about that. It says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed. See, this is not just a battle or war against the children of Israel. This is a war against the children of Israel to get to the Father. All right, this is a war against the entire earth to get to the Father. These heathen, these mortals, are not going to be able to actually fulfill that. They're not going to be able to win that war. You know, pursuant to prophecy. Psalms 2 and verse 3 says, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. And he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure, right? And they very displeased right now, the way that we're prophesying their downfall, the way we're declaring the testimony of Yahweh Shai. Right? Let me go ahead and pull that up. This is Revelation chapter 19 and 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahweh Shai. Worship Yahweh, for the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. These heathen hate the fact that we're declaring the prophecies written, man. They're in shambles right now. Let me go back. Let me jump back and see. So I can, if I'm too long-winded with it, but let me see. Here it is. Okay. Psalms, the second chapter. See, the Lord shall have them in derision. They're not going to be able to fulfill their enterprise. They're going to be in a position of what? A position of being put to shame. Position of being put to shame, man. And this is something that we're looking forward to. These niggas, they've been putting us to shame day in and day out, making us feel like we're not worthy. You know, making us feel like we ain't shit. All right, this is Psalms chapter 37 and 15. Their sword, right here, their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. Right. So these thermonuclear missiles that are being created by these heathen, these Edomites, is gonna be used to kill them. It's gonna be used to destroy them. They're gonna fall upon their own sword, man. So I'm going to finish it off right here. Be thou exalted, Psalms 21 and 13. Be thou exalted, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, in thy own strength. So will we sing and praise thy power, man. And this is what it is. This is the condition of the battle right now. We just got to wait until Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai does his thing. But with that, I pray and hope this was edifying. I want to give praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, Hashem Rakakwadash. Shalom.